For the longest time, Riot has been dealing with some pretty wild leaks. I mean, pretty much every single one of their champions leaked in some shape or form. Most of the bigger skin lines that are linked to big events also leak. Some of the internal projects Riot has been working on also got out. And even the Riot MMO is not really immune to leaks, even if those accidentally come out of their own developers. And let's not even talk about the job listings. But when it goes to League of Legends, most of those leaks came from the same place. And somehow they all originated from somewhere in Brazil. And only a few days ago, Riot said enough. And they shut down one of their biggest leakers. Now, anytime we get to talk about leaks, of course there are some people who came up with the same made-up argument. Well, you see, companies are actually making the leaks themselves. It totally builds up hype, it makes everyone talk about it, and it prepares everyone for what is coming. Which is an argument that was pulled out of the deepest corners of someone's crack. And it was confirmed many times by Riot directly, because Riot really wants you to know that they never actually leaked anything on purpose. They have only done it once in the entire history of League of Legends, when Riot themselves made a fake post on Reddit about a made-up champion. That was done for April Fools. But outside of that, anytime you see a leak, it is not Riot. And the fact is that anytime Riot wants to release something, they are carefully planning out all the reveals that will build up to the point of the reveal. For example, let's have a look at Leauge. Now sure, Leauge is still missing the comic, so we are still missing the final beat of his story. But even here, Leauge was actually pretty well planned. First we got a teaser that there are demons active in Demacia that was shown in the cinematic at the very beginning of the year with Sona. Then we got the Pandemonium skins teasing demons, which also included Vayne, who also got a new storyline. She then got a comic, and there we got a teaser for a small boy who was training with Vayne. And interestingly enough, if you go through the entire comic, you will not even notice anyone mentioning the name Leauge. That's because even at this point, it was supposed to be a mystery. And it was a mystery that was reserved for the very last part of Leauge's own cinematic, where the very last scene with Vayne was there to finally reveal the name of the next champion.
Leauge. This doesn't mean we're even.
Now, the reality? We knew about Leauge's name for like 4 months. And his early gameplay leaks came out like 2 months ago. And these leaks broke everything so hard that even some Riot developers thought that people already know about Leauge. But yeah, sure, Riot totally planned this out. Now, the sad reality is that these champion leaks were present for a lot of the last few releases, which also included skin lines. I mean, Leauge was magically revealed in a video recording of someone's monitor. Zahen was magically revealed in a video recording of someone's monitor. And I would show you a lot more examples, but I can't. And we will get to why in a moment. And because most of these leaks had the exact same setup, allegedly, and I really want to use allegedly properly to avoid legal trouble, these leaks came out because there is an insider at Riot who allows this to happen. And from what we know, that insider is somewhere in Brazil. Which takes us to Big Bad Bear. Now, a quick disclaimer, I have nothing against the person, the Big Bad Bear. But I do have something against the way Big Bad Bear actually leaked stuff and destroyed a lot of the story beats. Because, let's be honest, they also ruined the fun that we used to have with all the theory crafting around champions. I mean, remember when we theorized about the Ruined King? And do you remember the day the Ruined King was first revealed? What an amazing moment that was! And Riot Forge was also alive. But now it's not really possible anymore, because again, we saw Zahen like 3 months before his first teasers, and the same thing happened with Leauge. The theory crafting is just dead. Anyway, from what we know, it seems like Big Bad Bear was actually the source of the leaks. Now, of course, you might know that there are also other people who also talk about leaks. I mean, we sometimes talk about leaks when they go out of hand. So, for example, there is League of Leaks, which, as you can see, is even followed by some Rioters. And that is because League of Leaks only reposts what is already on the internet. They are not the source, and so technically it sucks, but they can talk about the stuff that is already on the internet. Again, same thing that we sometimes do. And so the issue is when you become the source of the leak. And so whoever is the first one to do this is in trouble. And so maybe, and this is me just being a totally crazy person, it shouldn't be a good idea to put your own watermark on the only leak that exists. Because when stuff like this would theoretically go to court, if the only images of the leaks that exist have your watermark, it is obvious that you are the one who did that. So legally, there wouldn't really be a way to back up. And that is exactly what might have happened to Big Bad Bear. Since a lot of the leaks came from them, which allegedly could be linked to a rioter on the inside, it was something that Riot had to take seriously. Because unless they cut the line somewhere, someone at Riot will keep leaking stuff and it will keep pouring out. But the issue is that if you are a big corporation, you don't exactly want to go on a manhunt against one person. I mean, leaks really suck, but it would still damage Riot's own community. They don't really want to go after a person that is talking about their own product after all. So they had to tackle this from a different angle. You see, there is no way to really root out the leaker, or to even confirm if and whom it is at Riot who might be helping. At least not without any further legal trouble. However, interestingly enough, we all agreed to give Riot the legal leverage when we signed the TOS. And that's where a really funny thing happened. You see, first, you might have noticed that some of the leaks suddenly got missing. Specifically, if you look at the original Lock leak as well as the infamous Squidward Zahen, those are just gone. Now, in theory, it is possible that Riot actually struck these two videos down, meaning that they would have 2 strikes on their channel. And in case you don't know, the moment you get 3 strikes on your channel, the entire channel is shut down. But Riot didn't do that. No, it seems like they only wanted to scare the bear with 2 strikes. And oh boy, did that tactic work. Because if you go to the Social Blade stats and you have a look at the history of the channel, you can see that last week 270 videos mysteriously disappeared, which should include all the possible leaks. I mean, now if you have a look, even like the stuff around Shyvana is gone, which resulted in minus 12 million views on the channel. But this was only the first step. Since we are talking about someone who was actively screwing over Riot and their development, there was one more thing that Riot had the power to do. You see, if you actually go through the TOS, which I am sure all of us have read, just like it is in every TOS of every game ever, there is a part that gives the developer the right to take down the content of their game off of the internet. And while there will always be the crazy people saying, they are doing this so they can remove bad reviews and censor us, which, nope. The developers actually manipulate reviews by not giving you the key to the next game if you give them a bad review. No, instead, the only reason why this rule is here is not to take down bad content of their game, but it is to take down leaks and videos of cheats and other harmful stuff. Which, in hindsight, explains the latest tweet. Is anyone else getting this error when logging into LoL since last week's update? I've already tried the steps recommended on the support and nothing worked. Or did Riot actually hit me with a hardware ban? Lmao. Drew Levin, if you could help, I don't know. I only got an AI response from the support ticket and unsure what to do. All I did was update the patch from League this Wednesday and PBE last Tuesday. I don't know if anything actually triggered this. Well, you evoke the beast's name, and the beast shall stare back. I can confirm you've been hardware banned, and that the ban will not be reversed. Which confirms, ladies and gentlemen, Riot got them. Now, funnily enough, Drew didn't really give us a reason for the ban, which means one of 2 things actually happened. Either Big Bad Bear had some kind of cheating on their machine, in which case no mercy, or the ban was actually targeted for the leaks. Now, some people speculated that perhaps Big Bad Bear had something on their computer which helped them with the leaks. Well, if you have a look at the leaks, it is always a video recording of someone's monitor. So the only thing that could be potentially happening is that Big Bad Bear actually had access to Riot's internal network. In that case, they would be doing far worse things. But alas, some defending happened. But I literally didn't do anything. I just updated my client. Was it an external reason, or was it triggered by something on my computer? Don't you access things that aren't released and leak them? That's not how it works, but it has absolutely nothing to do with my account. I don't even use my account to create content. Well, unfortunately for you, that is how it works, because of the TOS. You see, since Riot knows that your specific YouTube channel goes against their TOS, if you didn't have a Riot account, you technically wouldn't be agreeing to the TOS. But the chances would have it you do have a Riot account, which means you did agree to the TOS. And since Riot found your account, you're kinda screwed. And that is the magical thing that happened behind the scenes. Which is also how Riot caught one of their biggest leakers. Now, of course, then Big Bad Bear released a video confirming that Riot struck some of their videos. I mean, they are specifically saying multiple videos, but since the channel is still standing, Riot only caught 2 of them. After which they talk about how their account was banned unfairly with no good reason. Yeah, right. After which they mentioned that they are making a new account and they might be diving into other games, where they will also potentially leak. And that's pretty much where it all ends. And honestly, Riot couldn't really pull it off at a better time. Because we are right in front of the Season 3 of League of Legends, which should be a massive season with a lot of big content for League. It would suck if any of that would leak, ignoring teasers from TFT. And of course, we are still waiting for the massive League next update for the beginning of 2027. And so, Riot is just praying nothing else will leak. Which also makes me wonder, did Riot find out if there was an insider at Riot who allowed all of this? Because if they didn't find anyone, there might be more rats running around.